Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, his wife Madhulika Rawat and 11 others on board the Indian Air Force Mi-17 V5 helicopter were killed in a terrible helicopter crash. And these are images of those brave hearts, of those Indian Army and Air Force personnel who were on board that helicopter. There, of course, is one survivor. Those who perished in this tragic crash include Brigadier L.S. Liddar, Sena Medal, VSM, who was the military advisor to the Chief of Defence Staff. He had been cleared and approved for promotion to the rank of Major General and was to take over a division in Jammu and Kashmir shortly, is what sources are telling India Today. Also on board that aircraft was Lieutenant General Harjinder Singh, the staff officer, Wing Commander Prithvi Singh Chauhan, the pilot of the Mi-17 V5, Squadron Leader Kuldeep Singh, the co-pilot of that Indian Air Force helicopter. Squadron Leader K. Singh was the only son in the family who got married, has a son, and the officer was married just 2 years ago. His father is in the Indian Navy. Others who were killed in this crash include Junior Warrant Officer Das, Junior Warrant Officer Pradeep, Havaldar Satpal, Naik Gursevak Singh, Naik Jitendra, Lance Naik Vivek, and of course General Bipin Rawat's personal security detail, and Lance Naik Sai Teja from Andhra Pradesh, who was also on board. And these are members of the Special Forces of the Indian Army, the Parachute Regiment. They were also killed in this crash. Group Captain Amitabh Ranjan is an experienced Mi-17 helicopter pilot of the Indian Air Force, a veteran now. He joins me on the broadcast. Group Captain Ranjan, you're looking at these images shot on ground by people who were elsewhere. When you look at these last images, Group Captain Amitabh Ranjan, what can you put together?
Okay, for the benefit of all the viewers, the images which were shot subsequent and the video which has been shot just prior, they indicate that this helicopter has entered some kind of weather phenomena. Why? There can be two plausible explanations for that. One being it had some emergency on board which forced the helicopter to enter such a situation from which it could not come out. And the images subsequently on the ground, they show that the helicopter has impacted with a very high speed. So it is not something which is like the helicopter was in control while it was nearing the terrain. So as I earlier said, it can be attributed to only two reasons. One, the crew intentionally entered the weather, which is the most unlikely, most unlikely thing which can happen. Nobody enters weather phenomena in the hills, close to the grounds. It is the most foolish thing to do, and the highly trained pilots, as they were on board, including a commanding officer, they would not even think. We can't even think of such a thing happening.
Benefit of our viewers, stay with me for a moment, Group Captain Ranjan. I want our viewers to look at those images, look at that video that was shot on ground, and I want our producers to play that video on air of that helicopter, the last moments of that helicopter on air. Last moments of the helicopter on air. There is that video that we see on our television screens. This is a video that was shot on ground. Group Captain Ranjan, when you look at this video, it's flying into mist, it's flying into fog. What is your standard operating procedure, sir?
The standard operating procedure very clearly defines: you do not enter clouds, you do not enter fog, mist when you are close to the ground or in the vicinity of hills. Anywhere, anyhow, anyway. Nobody even thinks about entering clouds or mist or fog close to ground in the hills So that is what is the standard operating procedure.
This helicopter appears
So
to be doing so. Would there be a specific reason? That's point one. And point two, a Mi-17 V5, can it not fly around or above the cloud? That's point one. And point two, does it have equipment on board the helicopter that can help know whether there's terrain in front or there are clouds in front, sir?
the weather radar on board does terrain mapping as well. It has to be tilted down, which most of the pilots do when they are close to the terrain. And cloud is something which anybody can see visually. So unless there is some reason for which the helicopter is forced to enter the clouds or missed whatever figure we call it, unless there is a specific reason, the helicopter would not have entered voluntarily. The crew would not have attempted to enter such a phenomena voluntarily and leading to such a devastating crash. There are devices on board which keeps you away, and the helicopter is well equipped. It is so powerful, it could have flown away, up and away from that weather phenomena, even though that Coonoor Valley is very narrow, and at the specific time, just short of the Wellington helipad, the helicopter has to reduce its speed substantially to just about 100-120 kmph, as it is to decelerate for landing. But this video does not indicate that the helicopter is going in for landing. It indicates that the helicopter is flying into it, and there is some mitigating factor which is making it fly into this kind of a phenomena.
Now, in this situation, when you put these images together, when you put two and two together, sir, this helicopter entering cloud, could it not have flown above the cloud? Could it have turned around? And when you see the crash site, what comes to your mind, sir?
Helicopter could have comfortably and easily turned back. It could have climbed above. It could have avoided the clouds. So as I'm time and again bringing out, there must be some mitigating factor which only the flight data recorder will inform as to why the helicopter entered these clouds at these altitudes in this kind of a terrain.
And sir, the tail rotor and the tailbone section of the Hepter, that is visible. We are told the black box has been recovered. What information can be gleaned from the black box? How long would that take? Now, would the black box also have conversations, flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder? Mi-17 V5 has both. Am I right, sir?
Yes, the black box, as it's popularly called, there are two orange color boxes. One is a cockpit voice recorder. It records any and every conversation within the last 30 minutes amongst the crew, whatever they had with the air traffic control and any other agency. All the conversation is captured into it. It's a solid state recorder. So you will have all the conversation which is there. So that will, once the information is milked out of it, it will let all of us know as to exactly what was happening at that period of time, at that moment when the helicopter perforce entered these clouds. And the other part, that's a digital flight data recorder. That is again a solid state one. And these both are installed in the tail boom. And the design of the helicopter is such that even in case of an accident, these two devices, the black box or the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder, are placed at such a place that in case of a high impact also, these will basically break away from the helicopter, and it will be found so that subsequently data can be gleaned out of it.
And how long does that procedure take? How long does that procedure take, sir?
The CVR, it depends on the availability of specialist equipment, which I am very sure that the Air Force Base has, and the AAIB, that is the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has already carried with them. They will be experts. And the FDR has two kinds of parameters. One is called as continuous and one is on-off parameters. So on-off parameters are those which are out from the ordinary. Continuous are all the things which is constantly monitored in a helicopter. That is the engine power, the attitude, the altitude, speed, everything is continuously monitored, and any aberrations, they are monitored as on-off parameters. So in case of an emergency which has happened on board, that will also be indicated on the FDR. And this entire procedure at the earliest is 24 hours. Normally it would take 72 hours.
Okay, between 24 to 72 hours. Stay with me. This was an Indian Air Force Mi-17 V5 helicopter that crashed with the Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat and 13 others on board. According to Indian Air Force officials, this is an advanced military transport helicopter. It's a medium lift transport helicopter that has been in service since 2012. India got these helicopters for strengthening its transport helicopter fleet for operations in high altitude areas like the Siachen Glacier, Kargil Heights, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh and the Northeast. And these helicopters are also extensively used for humanitarian aid and disaster relief. Incidentally, the ONGC also uses this platform for its operations.
Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, his wife Madhulika Rawat and 11 others lose their lives as an Indian Air Force Mi-17 V5 helicopter crashes in Coonoor. Only Group Captain Varun Singh survived the crash. Sources tell India Today, Wing Commander Prithvi Singh Chauhan was flying the advanced military transport chopper. He was commanding officer of the 109 helicopter unit. Mi-17 V5 choppers joined the Indian Air Force fleet in February 2012 after India expanded its 2008 contract with Russia for strengthening its chopper operations. The Indian Air Force currently has over 200 Mi-17 V5 helicopters in service. Manufactured by Russian company Kazan, the advanced helicopter comes with a weather radar and latest generation night vision devices, which makes it fit for high altitude operations. It can carry a maximum weight of 13,000 kilos with an additional payload weight of 4,000 kilos. The helicopter is equipped with self-defense system against heat-seeker missiles and heavily armored cockpit. The self-sealed fuel tanks are filled with foam, polyurethane and are protected against explosions. It is the most technically advanced helicopter of Mi-8 family of helicopters and is fitted with advanced TV3 117 VM engines. The military transport helicopter has been involved in crashes earlier too. In 2017, 7 people died as a Mi-17 V5 chopper crashed near Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh. 4 years earlier in 2013, 20 people died in a chopper crash in Uttarakhand during a rescue mission during flash floods. Bureau Report, India Today.
We will continue our conversation with Group Captain Amitabh Ranjan during the course of the day. But for the moment, sir, many thanks for joining. And politics has now erupted over the Chief of Defence Staff chopper crash in Parliament. Now, Mallikarjun Kharge says the opposition has not been allowed to pay homage to General Bipin Rawat, the Chief of Defence Staff, and others on board the ill-fated helicopter. The opposition claims they were not permitted to speak in Parliament.
इनका सबका कहना एक ही था कि हम भी 2-2 मिनट या 1 मिनट अपनी हृदयपूर्वक श्रद्धांजलि उनको अर्पित करें। लेकिन ना सरकार, ना चेयर हमको अलाउ किया। श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करने के लिए भी हमको जो समय नहीं दे रहे, इस घटना का हम निंदा करते हैं।
A quick break. We'll be back with the headlines and our top stories. For all the latest news and updates, log on to indiatoday.in. You can also download the India Today app.